Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Dawn.
I'm Auntie.
And welcome. We hope that you guys are surviving COVID, keeping sane and safe and happy at home. A life update on our family. Our oldest baby started preschool. She is about 22 months and it's been, she's finally getting used to it. This week was probably her first week of not crying, and you moms know how that goes. But anyways, the preschool had a little fundraiser. I bid on a basket and we got this huge marble basket.
Huge. You know what? She didn't even tell me she bid it on a basket. And didn't we just do a few videos about commitment and communication? She comes home with this big, huge looking basket. Look at this. It has Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. Huge basket.
Huge.
I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. Thank you for all the comments. Dawn and I just having a fun time with this whole YouTube community. I feel it's exciting. It's kind of fun just having a good time. Are you having a good time with this, babe?
It's been a good journey.
It's been a good journey. A few commenters made a few comments about wanting to know how we met. So we figured our next video will be how we met. So I figure I'll start off with our story and Dawn will follow behind me and explain her side of her story. So how Dawn and I met, we met in a spin class at work. I was the only guy in the spin class. And anybody who knows me, you know I'm goofy and silly, so I had the whole class laughing and being goofy, right, babe? One thing about the work environment where I used to work, people, when you meet them, they just say hi and bye, and they just kind of keep going. But for some reason, when I used to meet Dawn in passing, one time Dawn went past me, and she just said hi, but she had this presence about her, and she was smiling at me. She just had this energy, and it just made me notice her. So every time in passing, I would say I would just speak. And it was during a phase in my life where I was going through a divorce and, I just was working out a lot. And it was one time that I saw her in the gym and we decided to exchange numbers. And we actually ate at this Italian restaurant in Santa Monica. The food was good, wasn't it? I actually want to go back to that place. So anyway, she and I were just conversing back and forth, and she knew a little bit about me. The only thing she practically knew was that I had a daughter, but she didn't know my backstory. And then later on, I basically just explained to her, my whole backstory. And she was still kind of not really sure or certain about, where she wanted to go with it. She was still trying to figure out where things were going to go. And I just realized, I could just tell by the energy that it wasn't going to go too far for so many reasons. Number one, I feel like she was Indian. Number two, I feel like she was Indian, and plus her parents probably wouldn't accept me. And then number two, just because where I was emotionally and I was still trying to figure things out.
All right, so now my turn. All right, so like Monty mentioned, we met at the gym and we actually met at the spin class. We didn't really meet at the spin class. I knew of him at the spin class. He showed up to one of my spin classes and all I remember.
It was a few.
There were?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was going there faithfully. I don't know what she's talking about.
That was not true. But all I knew was that he was super animated and goofy and he had a daughter. I don't know how we came up in conversation at some point, but during the class time. And, from then on, we would see each other in passing. I would walk by, he would walk by, and he would do his thing. I would do my thing, which was elliptical and reading. I would do 45 minutes of elliptical.
Oh, excuse me, by the way, when she did elliptical, oh my goodness, I noticed her before I spoke to her. I'm like, God, this girl sweats like crazy. Oh, she basically used to just read her book and do elliptical. Sweat hard, like she was doing like trips in basketball.
I did. Now that I think about it, it's been a while since I sweat that hard. But I did work out pretty hard in the elliptical. And one day I finished my elliptical and was walking over to the weights area where he was working out to get some wipes to wipe down the machine that I was working on. And, we just started chatting. It was just a very generic conversation. He was like, hey, we need to grab dinner sometime. And I was like, okay, cool. Not thinking anything of it, really. he gave me his phone and he was like, hey, why don't you put your name and number down? And I figured out, like, and that's when I realized he doesn't even really know my name. But anyways,
true story.
I put in my name and number, and, we just kind of texted each other, kind of talked on the phone a little bit, and we figured out a spot to go eat, which was in Santa Monica, like you said. And that was probably the first time we actually had a conversation. And that's when he told me about his divorce and, how he had a daughter and all that kind of stuff. And so we talked, but at the end of that dinner, I was kind of conflicted, mainly because of a lot of reasons. One, I'm Indian and I didn't know how my parents would accept a black man, but also somebody who was going through a divorce and who had a child. So it was, and also just for myself, like I just wasn't sure where he was, if he was even emotionally ready for a serious commitment. I myself at that point, I was very emotionally ready. I had gone through a marriage that didn't work out, and I hadn't dated anyone for a year, and so it was my time to heal myself. And I was ready for a relationship. I was actually ready for a very serious relationship, and he was jumping out of a serious relationship. So it was just maybe not the perfect time to meet, to be honest. And so I just remember after the restaurant, we were kind of chatting, and I was like, I don't think this is the right time. Like, I don't think this is the right time or place for you to be dating. We started chatting that night, and we kept texting, and I guess we kept chatting, and we kept hanging out after, and I guess Monty was such a charmer, here we are today, I guess.
Oh, you left out one important thing. You should tell them what you actually did. Should you? Okay, like Dawn said, we started hanging out, and I just didn't think that, I didn't know how far it was going to go between us, and I just figured, since I was just in a different emotional space than Dawn, I figured my definition of dating was completely different from her definition of dating. And my definition of dating was, you're dating, but you're not exclusively, She thought if we were dating basically exclusively. So the moment she realized and found out we weren't exclusively, that was an issue. It drew up a trust factor with her.
So like Monty mentioned, it wasn't very smooth sailing, I thought, the dating period. It was great and fun when we were doing really fun activities. We did a lot of really cool activities, and that was all great. But I think as a girl, every woman comes to that place in your relationship where you're like, what is this? Where is this headed? And I think since Monty and I were on such completely different pages when it came to emotional readiness, I think that's what it was. It just caused a huge bump in our relationship where he talked about, exclusively dating versus me wanting it and he not wanting it. And that was a tough point, and I think we had multiple hard conversations about where we were in our relationship, and I was very articulate and pretty straightforward about what I wanted. And in 2016, when he got back from shooting Spider-Man, I pretty much sat him down and I was like, hey, this is a deal. Either you're here for the long run or you need to say goodbye to this situation. So that's basically what it was.
She tried to put the cuffs on me.
Oh. And I kind of just told him, like, this is what I'm expecting. And I think maybe it was the tone of my voice, or maybe it was what I said, or maybe a combination of both, that I saw him making some pretty serious changes. Like, he introduced me to McKinsey seriously, November of 2016, on my birthday. We went to Disneyland for the first time. And we got engaged a year after that, and then we got married, we had kids, all that kind of stuff, and everything is history after that. And so I think like culture, there was a small part that was cultural in all of this. I think dating, what dating means to him versus what dating means to me.
Yes, please make some comments down below, and you tell us what you're about to hear, the difference between her definition of dating culturally, I guess, from her side, and our definition of dating here.
Yeah, like, as an Indian and growing up in the mentality, like, we date only to get married. We don't date to find out if we want to get married, and I don't know if that's the case anymore. It probably isn't, but that's the mentality I grew up with. Whereas he, you date multiple people to figure it out, if you want to marry the person or not, I guess. So, or if you want to even go serious with a particular relationship.
True.
So anyways, that was very different for us culturally, dating. And, that caused a lot of bumps in our relationship. I'm not going to lie. There were times when I kind of gave up, on us. And I was just like, hey, I think you need to do you and I need to do me. In the end, I think we just kind of talked it out, and he made some very big changes in his life, and I really have to give him props for that. And
thank you, baby.
He made some big changes, and he kind of just showed me like he was in it for the long run. And even marriage, like it's not really easy, but we sit down and we converse, and thankfully we're happily married now. Like we're just not like we don't disagree about things, because we disagree all the time, but we sit down and talk, and knowing where you are headed is one battle in a relationship. So know where you're headed, I think, together, like where are you headed with your partner. And I think once you get there, then things are a little bit easier, I would say. Right?
Yep.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our story. If you did, please leave us a comment below and give us a thumbs up, and we will see you back here for our next one. Mwah.